Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my lesson for today. Ladies and gentlemen, for today's lesson we'll be looking at equation of a circle. As you can see, guys, the only thing that you need for this lesson is just a pen and a paper. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, it's advisable that you know, when you watch my lessons, you have a glass of water, because we're going to have some interesting time, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, please do allow me to say it's very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that I say it's very much important, good people, because what I'm about to say is massively important. Guys, at all times, please bear in mind that a day without learning something new, it's a day wasted. By so saying, please do make sure that by the end of each and every lesson that I conduct, you learn something new. Okay, so guys, this is in preparation for your exams. Okay, so please do make sure that you listen very attentively and you listen very carefully. So ladies and gentlemen, as you can see there, I've got a hand-drawn circle with two axes, namely the x and the y axis. So ladies and gentlemen, let me just quickly try to redraw that diagram. But firstly, I need you to be aware that, you know, I always say this in most of my mathematical lessons, that we draw based on the axis. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, I assume everyone knows that we've got the horizontal axis and the vertical axis. Okay, so the horizontal axis is well known as the x-axis. So let's name it x-axis. Okay, and the vertical axis is known as the y-axis. Okay, the y-axis. Very much important, ladies and gentlemen. This arrows actually indicates that you know, this axis, it's not limited to that point, but it continues up to infinity. Same in that direction, same applies for the horizontal axis, which is the x-axis. On this side, same applies, ladies and gentlemen. So you might find that we don't necessarily need to draw a very long line, because we are only focusing on points closer to the origin. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call a Cartesian plane. A Cartesian plane. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we draw functions on a Cartesian plane. Okay, so for today's lesson, we'll be focusing on an equation of a circle. Very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So now, can I just try to draw a circle, guys? There you go. We've got a circle. Remember, nothing is drawn to scale. This is just a hand-drawn diagram or a hand-drawn circle. So nothing is drawn to scale, ladies and gentlemen. This is just for the purpose of demonstration, and again, for the purpose of explaining to you what happens. So I'm just going to quickly explain to you everything that is related to a circle, and then from there towards the end I should write you know, the general equation for a circle. It's very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that you listen very carefully. So guys, nothing is complicated when it comes to a circle. I'm also thinking this is also going to be a very short lesson, because there's nothing much complicated with regards to an equation of a circle. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to learn some more when we treat exam related questions. Okay, but for now, it's just to introduce you to an equation of a circle. So ladies and gentlemen, when we draw a circle, we call that the circumference, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we call the circumference. Okay, can we just label it and say this is what we call the circumference? The circumference. Never mind my handwriting, never mind my spelling, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty much sure that you're going to write the correct spelling as part of your notes. So ladies and gentlemen, that means if I've got a circle, I've got a bigger circle, and let's say I've got that smaller circle. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call the circumference of the circle. Okay, this is what we call the circumference of the circle. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. The circumference of the circle. Circumference of the circle. Okay, so guys, obviously we know each and every circle has got a center. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that you take into account that each and every circle has got a center. Obviously, since a circle has got a center, it obviously means it's going to have a radius, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to have a radius, ladies and gentlemen. A circle which has got a center, it's going to have a circle. So guys, a very good question may be asked. What is a radius? Ladies and gentlemen, a radius, the shortest definition of a radius, ladies and gentlemen, is the distance from the center to the circumference of the circle. Guys, it's a very simple and a very short definition. The radius, let me just write it down so that you write it as part of your notes. Radius is the distance from the center to the circumference of the circle. So ladies and gentlemen, I doubt in mathematics, especially in grade 12, in grade 12 you might come across a question where they want you to define the radius. It won't happen, ladies and gentlemen, but for your understanding, it's very, very much important that you understand the definition of a radius. Okay, in short, the radius is the distance from the center of the circle to the circumference of the circle. Obviously, guys, if we've got that circle that I've drawn over there, okay, so assuming that this is the center, ladies and gentlemen, which is at the origin. Remember, on one of my previous lessons, I've explained what the origin is, ladies and gentlemen. Just to recap, the origin is a point where the x and the y axis intersect, okay, or where the x and the y axis cross each other, or where the x and the y axis joins. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. We refer to that point as the origin. Okay, so the value of that point is 0. So I've drawn a circle which has a center right at the origin. Remember, guys, not at all times you'll be having a circle where the center is at the origin. A center may be somewhere there, it may be somewhere there, somewhere there, somewhere there. It doesn't really matter, ladies and gentlemen. What matters the most is for you to know that when we have a circle, we've got the circumference, and again, we've got the radius. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the radius is the distance from the center to the circumference of the circle. Ladies and gentlemen, the radius, the distance from the center to the circumference. Radius from the center to the circumference. Ladies and gentlemen, whichever direction doesn't really matter that much. For as long as you've got a line which is radiating from the center to the circumference, we call it the radius, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, guys, it also includes from there to there along that x-axis, okay? From there to there along that x-axis, from there, which is the origin, up to there along the y-axis, from there to there along the y-axis. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call the radius, okay? So it's just one radius that you need to know. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm just drawing this multiple lines so that you never forget. The radius can be that line radiating from the center to the circumference. It doesn't really matter whether it's radiating, from the center to whichever direction, ladies and gentlemen, as long as it's just a straight line from the origin in this case, but generally speaking from the center of a circle to the circumference. It doesn't matter in that direction or in that direction, ladies and gentlemen. We just need to know that from the center to the circumference of the to the circumference of the circle, that's what we call the radius. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So now, guys, what is the equation of a circle? Okay, guys, as part of your notes, let's just label that as radius. Okay, so that means all these lines, they represent the radius. Okay, so remember, guys, a line which is from the circumference passing through the center to the other side of the circumference is the diameter. Okay, but in this case we're not that much interested in the diameter, we're only focusing on the radius. Okay, so guys, I'm just going to remove this portion. In the meantime, please do have a glass of water, ladies and gentlemen. I also have a glass of some cold water, of which I'm just going to quickly clear my throat. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope so far so good. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's now continue. Remember, this is circumference. So ladies and gentlemen, generally an equation of a circle, it's x squared plus y squared, which is equals to radius squared. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the general equation of a circle. Okay, so in most cases, ladies and gentlemen, in most cases, if we are given a circle, ladies and gentlemen, we are mostly interested in knowing the value of the radius squared. Okay, that's what we are mostly interested in, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we really need to know. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if we know the radius of the given circle, suppose the radius of that circle, ladies and gentlemen, let me think of something. Suppose we've got a question where they say determine the equation of the circle with the center at the origin and a radius of 3 units. Ladies and gentlemen, did you get that question? If you did not, I'm just going to repeat it for the last time as slow as possible. From there, I'm going to perform a mini calculation. So ladies and gentlemen, the question says determine the equation of the circle. Ladies and gentlemen, that means you're going to write something almost the same as that. Okay, the question now continues. Remember, they said determine an equation of the circle with the center at the origin. So ladies and gentlemen, let's just refer to that circle that I've drawn there because it has the center at the origin. Okay, and that's the question, ladies and gentlemen. It continues, and a radius of 3 units. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that means we've got the radius, which is 3 units. Okay, 3 units. Ladies and gentlemen, that unit, it represents a unit which could be millimeters, centimeters, meters, kilometers, or whatever, ladies and gentlemen. So that means that 3 units is actually a length, or it's a distance which could be measured in one of those. Okay, but most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we're not that much interested in the units. We just need to know what is the value of the radius, what is the length of the radius, what is the distance of the radius. Okay, so guys, if you were to answer that question, this is what you would do, ladies and gentlemen. Generally, this is the equation of a circle. Okay, plus y squared, which is equals to, remember guys, they said the radius is equals to 3 units. Okay, so now, as I've indicated, ladies and gentlemen, we are most interested in the value of r squared. Okay, so that means we've got x squared plus y squared, which is equals to, it should be 9, ladies and gentlemen. So now this is an answer to our question, which says determine the equation of the circle with the center at the origin and a radius of 3. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, with a radius of 3, it simply means from that point, which is the center of that circle, to that point, which is the circumference, ladies and gentlemen. It means this is 3, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, same applies. It means from there to the circumference, ladies and gentlemen, it's 3. Okay, from there to the circumference, ladies and gentlemen, it's 3. Same applies there, ladies and gentlemen, it's 3. So it's more like our circle touches that x-axis at point 3. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, again, it means the distance from that point to there is 3, ladies and gentlemen. From that very same point to there is 3. So from that point to the circumference, ladies and gentlemen, to the circumference of that circle, the distance or the length or the radius is 3. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you fully understand that part. So guys, what if the radius was 4? Okay, so that means here you substitute 4. Ladies and gentlemen, what if it was 7? Guys, you substitute 7. Ladies and gentlemen, what if it was 50? Ladies and gentlemen, you substitute 50 and punch all of this on a calculator. Whatever you write, whatever you get on your calculator, that's what you write over there. Then it means x squared plus y squared is equals to 9. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So guys, that's how you answer that question. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we might have a different situation. So guys, let me just try to redraw this circle. I want to bring it to your attention in case we've got a center at a different point, or otherwise, let's say we've got a circle which has a center which is not at the origin. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, obviously we know this is the x-axis, that is the y-axis. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously this is the origin. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, what if we've got a circle with the center okay, just for argument's sake, ladies and gentlemen, let's just say the center is still at the origin. Okay, let's say the center is still at the origin, and let me see, and it passes through the point. Let's say it passes through that point of -3 and 4. Okay, so that means obviously x, it will be -3, which is on that side. So let's say 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be -3, ladies and gentlemen. And again, 4. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that is 4. So they're saying the circle passes through that point. So that means we need to have, a point at where x it's -3, at where y it's 4. Where is that point, ladies and gentlemen? It's somewhere there. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't mean, in this case, it doesn't mean our circle, ladies and gentlemen, touches at that point and at that point. No, it means it passes through that point. Okay, so that means our circle has to be drawn such that it passes that point. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, this is just a hand drawn. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So now remember, this is the center of our circle, ladies and gentlemen. The center is still at the origin, but they say our circle passes through that point. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's now try to write an equation of the circle. We obviously know that generally it's x squared plus y squared, which is equals to radius squared. Okay, and they want us to determine an equation of the circle that passes through that point. Okay, so guys, obviously because we know when we write an equation of a circle, we are mostly interested in knowing the value of radius squared. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we've got the x and the y value, so you can just substitute it there, punch on a calculator, whatever value that you get, ladies and gentlemen, it represents r squared. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So now let's substitute. So that means we've got negative 3 squared plus 4 squared, it's equals to r squared. Very, very much important. So guys, something to note. It seems like we will never have negative r squared, ladies and gentlemen, because when you've got a negative value, you square it becomes a positive value. You've got a positive value over there, you're going to square it, then you have a positive value. So that means at all times you're going to have your r squared as a positive value. Ladies and gentlemen, does it mean we will always have a positive radius? Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like at all times we're going to have a positive radius. Okay, remember guys, radius, it's a distance, it's a length. Okay, so it means our r squared should be positive when we perform calculations. Okay, so if it happens that you do some calculations and you get a negative value, just be worried or ask yourself where you made a mistake. Okay, so obviously guys, negative 3 squared, it's obviously positive 9 if you punch it on a calculator. 4 squared, it's obviously equals to 16. This is equals to r squared. Ladies and gentlemen, you just add these two. Okay, I think it should be 25, which is equals to r squared. Okay, so remember guys, this is what we're interested in knowing, of which in this case is 25. So that means an equation of a circle passing through that point is x squared plus y squared, it's equals to 25. By so doing, ladies and gentlemen, you score yourself full marks. This type of question might be given 2 marks, ladies and gentlemen, for correct substitution, for correct formula. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it's as simple as that. Nothing complicated when it comes to an equation of a circle. Okay, so guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I think we can just leave it there. So ladies and gentlemen, when we tackle exam related type of questions, that's why I'm going to teach you some more in case if we've got a circle where a center is somewhere there. Okay, so it might be something similar to that, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing complicated, it's just a shift of the center. Okay, so guys, obviously you might be given that point over there. Okay, to say maybe we've got a circle with a center at that point which passes through that point, which could be, let's say x is 7 and then let's say y is 3. You just perform the same calculation, ladies and gentlemen, in order to determine an equation of a circle that passes through that point. Okay, so guys, I won't go deep into that. Let's just wait for when we do exam questions. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to watch my lessons from the start, because when we treat final exam question papers, we'll be including everything that I've taught you from the first lesson. So ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for joining. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Guys, my name is Desmond and I'm out.